this thing is good, and I'm going to be doing this thing as often as I can.
Wow.
But there was a problem. I was 14, and I can't go out that often to these parties. But I remember it sparked something in me, something very small, but it sparked something. Anytime I had those knots, that tension, and which was all the time, whenever I was sober, I had that anxiety, that anger, that I just want to kill something or myself and everyone around me. And the deep despair and just depression all the time. I remember thinking there is a solution, and I found it in a bottle. And I was petrified. I don't want to go back there. So I tried my own willpower. And I said I just won't drink. See, that's the end of that story. Just when I was 15, like I said, at 15, I won't drink again. And that's what I said I'll do. I won't drink again. 29 days I lasted. After that, it was automobile.
Okay.
Locals, straight to the locals. Now I was down to minimum local staggering distance. Next thing I know, I'm in a taxi destined for Mombasa.
Eh?
Yeah.
From where?
From Kiambu Road.
Kiambu Road to where?
Mombasa. And I'm in Voi. That's where I'm coming to. And I'm not understanding. My phone is at 5%. I have no money. I have the clothes on my back. I'm in a taxi with strangers. I was on a bar on Kiambu Road. That's the last thing I remember. So now we're crossing regional lines. We're traveling now. But that's the first time I tell myself, Waihiga, if you touch one of those Tuskers, you don't know where you're going to end up next. Because you took a drink on Kiambu Road last night, and today here you are. And that's the first time I think I had a serious conversation with myself.
Hello and a warm welcome to the show. My name is Lynn Ngugi. Now my guest today is a recovering alcoholic, and her story, Kwanza, I have to say she's so brave because her story is about to teach us a lot, and I cannot even start commending her for the strength it takes to genuinely sit on this chair. We're about to hear from her, but before we do, allow me to say a huge thank you to Westwood Hotel for giving us this space so that we are able to bring you impactful content. Check them out for their restaurant. They have amazing food, an outside space where you can hold your events, swimming pool, and even a conference room. And now, without further ado, please allow me to let our guest today introduce herself. Hello, hello.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi, Mommy.
Hi, how are you?
you?
I'm great.
It's a mastered and mastered affair.
It really is.
Yeah, it really is. So you
really
were
is.
meant to be here.
I really was.
Looking lovely.
Thank you.
Yes, please introduce yourself.
My name is Waihiga,
Yeah.
and I am a recovering alcoholic. I've been sober since the 2nd of July, 2017, and that is only by the sheer grace of God, I must say, and I must admit. Yeah, that had nothing to do with me.
Can I first commend you for even being so brave and sharing your joy? We were just saying, I met you almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Somewhere around town,
Yeah.
near a petrol station. And you were like, Lynn, my name is Waihiga and I want to share your story. And I'm like, okay. And here we are 2 years later.
Yeah.
So it was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waihiga, please take us through your story.
Yeah, it's quite a story.
Yeah.
It's quite a journey. I'm 29 years old, and through my life I've been through a lot of ups, but certainly a lot of downs. And I feel at 29, this is when I'm getting to really start to live my life. I say that I am a recovering alcoholic because I was born with the disease of alcoholism. And note that I call it a disease. Alcoholism, I feel, has been made to be something like a behavior or a choice, or like I decided one day and just started drinking for the sake of drinking. But I don't believe that's how, I mean, like I didn't wake up one morning and decide, you know what, I'm going to throw my life, my dreams, my dignity away, my self-respect, the love my parents have for me, and everything down the drain and just be an alcoholic. No, there were things that happened.
Yeah.
It started in a way. So for as long as I can remember, especially being a child, I was very angry. I was very angry, very upset. And it's nothing to do with my upbringing. It's nothing to do with my parents. It's just when I hit a certain stage in life, and I can remember being 12, something about my innocence, my childhood changed. And it's nothing traumatic that happened to me per se, in the sense that I was assaulted or anything like that. Nothing like that happened. Everything was internal.
Yeah.
So all my thoughts switched, from being a happy child, from being a happy-go-lucky person, to just being a very homicidal, suicidal, very dark person. And I started locking myself up in my room, and my family became my enemy. I don't know why, but for some reason I could not understand them. They didn't understand me. They were the enemy. They had to go. I didn't want to be near them. They didn't understand me, and that was it.
What was their reaction? I mean, seeing their child, she's only 12, she doesn't want to talk, she doesn't want to be next to anyone. How are they reacting to this? Or what are they telling you?
Initially, I think my parents were like, okay, it's growing pains, right? She's going through it. She's becoming a teenager now. So this is what they're talking about, you know. Hers is a bit more intense, but maybe she's just becoming a teenager, and that's what's happening. However, with my mom, the situation became much more personal.
Yeah.
And our relationship became very strained from then on a personal level. Normally, between mothers and daughters, yes, they have issues when the child hits puberty, when the daughter hits puberty.
Yeah.
And then in their 20s, early 20s, late teens, they start working things
Yes.
out. And then somehow they normalize and they become best of friends.
Yes.
That necessarily didn't work for my mom and I. It just fueled into what should have been a normal teenage stage, just continued on into more grudges, more hatred, more anger, and animosity towards each other. My dad, he's naturally always just been the more compassionate, the calmer person, the more neutral person in the family. So he's always just tried to rise above the situations and just try to understand what's going on.
And you have other siblings?
I have a younger sister.
How was it like for her?
Very hard. Very hard. Very hard. I believe I was harsh on her. And for a long time, it's like my parents kind of had to choose. And for a long time, it's like we were raised as single children in a home, because I was that isolated from the family. And a lot of the attention was put on me. What is going on with Waihiga? What's wrong with Waihiga? Now what are we going to do about Waihiga? So she was not given as much
Attention. How is your relationship like right now with her?
It's a work in progress. But I am so thankful to her and to God, because she's found it in her heart. She doesn't have to. She really doesn't have to. I robbed her of years. I robbed her of years of a childhood. I added trauma to her life. I was mean to her. And there's time I stole from her. Time, precious time that I stole from her between her and my parents that she could have had. She deserved to have one-on-one time with my parents. She deserved to have that tender love and care as much as I got. She deserved to have that much attention placed on her. And I stole that away from her because of my needs, my attention. But she has continuously extended the olive branch and has been willing to work with me as long as I'm sober, which I completely understand. and it's a work in progress.
Okay.
But we're getting somewhere.
Good.
And we're on talking terms, and she's visiting soon, so I can't wait to see her. Yeah.
Wow, lovely.
Yeah.
That's good to hear. Really good to hear,
Yeah.
you know. Nothing as good as reconnecting
Yeah.
with your loved ones.
Yeah.
And I can see you're even glowing
Yeah.
when you talk about her. So
Yeah, I love her very much.
all the very best.
Thank
Sure,
you.
she feels the same about you. Yeah, so all the very best. All right, so at 12, you're giving everyone trouble at home.
Yes, I was. And I needed to channel that anger somehow, some way. And by 13, 14, by this time we had moved to South Africa because my dad had gotten a job there. So we had moved to Pretoria. We had moved there in 2002 when I was 9. So I had essentially grown up there, gone to primary and high school there. And we used to go for parties, my friends and I. And these parties are very different to a party here
Yeah.
at that age.
Okay.
So no parents, booze, weed.
How old again?
14.
Okay, so you are sneaking.
Yeah,
You go in, your parents maybe think you're sleeping,
Yeah.
but you're out there.
yeah. So parents say, I'm going here, we're going there. So you go to the most relaxed household, and then from there you get the older brother to drive you guys to the party. And then the party happens, and then there's things that happen at that party. So I remember this unattended party, there were 4 Smirnoff Storms, which here are like the equivalent of 4 black ices. And I guzzled them down, and I remember feeling, why do I feel so free? I feel so good, so free, so lucid. Like I'm walking on air.
Ni tamu.
Very, yes.
Si kitu ni tamu.
Very. Yeah, and I was like, yeah, man, where have you been all my life, all my 14 years? You know, this thing is good. And I'm going to be doing this thing as often as I can.
Wow.
But there was a problem. I was 14. And I can't go out that often to these parties. But I remember it sparked something in me. Something very small, but it sparked something. Anytime I had those knots, that tension, and which was all the time, whenever I was sober, I had that anxiety, that anger, that I just want to kill something or myself and everyone around me. And the deep despair and just depression all the time. I remember thinking there is a solution, and I found it in a bottle. So the drinking began to get social. This was socially acceptable at 15, at 16, at 17. However, at 15, I had my first blackout. And that is something an alcoholic experiences. I didn't know that normal drinkers do not experience. Most normal drinkers don't experience a blackout. And that is when you drink, you consume so much alcohol to the point that you cannot remember for a period of time what has happened consciously. I mean, what has happened between certain time to a certain time. And I think it was about 12 hours. I mean, I went to my first love's birthday party, and I decided, you know what, tonight I'm going to get messed up and I'm drinking everything. I want to taste everything and anything in every single color. I want wine, I want it dry, I want it sweet, I want it red, I want it bubbly, I want it frothy, I want beer, I want everything. I want vodka, I want everything. And I drank everything in sight, Sambuca, everything. And I got smashed, passed out in a bush half naked. And that's the last thing I remember. I came to, now that's language we use in recovery, came to. It's like you're coming out of a coma, coming to. And I have all these scratches on my body. I'm at my best friend's house. I have no recollection. I asked her, I mean, what time is it and why aren't we at the party? That's the last thing I remember. We were at the party last night. And she was like, she looked at me with the most disgusted and shocked face ever. And she was like, you don't remember all the things you did and said? And I was like, what did I do and say? She went through a list of things I did and said. Apparently, I confessed my love to him, and I cursed her out and said how I was so jealous of her and that he only loved her, and it was a mess. And I swore off alcohol. I remember getting into the bath and everything stunk because I'd fallen in bushes. I was cut all over my arms, my legs, places I had never seen. I remember she went to the garage and she showed me where I had thrown up, projectile puked. And I was like, this is not me, you have to understand. But she kept saying, it was you, you were awake. Stop lying like you don't remember. And I was like, you don't understand, I don't remember. And those were the first warning signs that you might have a problem, because normal people don't drink to that point. And that was as early as 15.
Wow.
Yeah. So from 15, I saw off alcohol. I said, I'm not drinking this stuff. This stuff is not for me. But then the depression came back immediately. So slowly at 17, I started saying, okay, maybe I'll do like 1 cocktail or 2 cocktails. But I won't ever mix and drink. Like, I started coming up with solutions. Okay, I'll eat before I drink. Or I'll do this or I'll do that. But I started noticing another thing that started happening to me. I was the most excited to drink among my friends. If there was a plan to go out, let's say we planned to drink in 2 weeks' time, I was the most excited.
When do you wakupanga?
I was the ringleader. I was the one thinking about the bottles. I was the one happy. I wasn't thinking about the outfits, the boys, the clubs are going to go to. I was the one thinking about the Malibu, the Sprite, all the concoctions we're going to make, how good those drinks sound. I was the one who was excited about that. My friends weren't that excited about alcohol.
Yeah.
But I was. Yeah. And so I matriculated. I finished in 2010. And by this time, I discovered acting. So that was, I would say...
You finished in 2020?
In 2010.
In 2010?
Yes,
okay.
high school.
Explain to our audience what matriculation is.
Matriculation.
Matriculation, either one.
Matric. Okay, so it's finishing high school.
In South Africa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I finished high school, did very well. And I decided, I'll be going to University of Cape Town. But it was very, very expensive. I worked very hard. I got in, but it was very expensive. So my options were, you know what? I've missed home so much. Why don't I come back to Kenya and then also start my acting career? Because just about the time I was discovering alcohol, I also found out that I could act. I got on stage when I was 14 and I started acting. And it was the first thing that I had done academically that just came naturally, effortlessly. I loved it. And it was the first thing outside of alcohol that I loved.
Good.
So alcohol and acting are like this.
Yeah.
But soon the one. So I decided, you know what? The UCT thing didn't work. Let me go back home. I can go to a school where I can do journalism and simultaneously I can do acting on the side. I came back to Kenya within my first year at USIU. I booked Sugar 2. So MTV Sugar 2, Love, Sex and Money. And it was an awesome experience. I mean, my dreams were literally happening before my eyes. I was doing school, I was working hard, I was playing basketball, I was modeling, I was doing a radio show on USIU radio. And then I was also pursuing my dreams. And I remember when I was 17, I'd watched Sugar in South Africa. And I remember saying, one day I'm going to be on this show. 1.5 years later, I was on that show. So I was like, yeah, you see, it's happening. Yeah, I'm going to do Sugar. Then I'm going to do Jacob's Cross. Then I'm going to LA. Then I'm going to get an Oscar.
You had it all laid out.
It was planned. I'm going to get my degree by 22. I'll be out of here. I'll be done. I'm going to get my Oscar. Same time as Lupita. We're like this. By 27, I will have that Oscar.
Good.
So my plans were there. They were happening. So by 18 now, I was like, you see, MTV Sugar's happening. This is happening. And that insidious drink. The drinking culture in Kenya is interesting because the drink culture in SA, yes, people drink in South Africa. However, it's not as socially acceptable as here to drink, like, let's say on a Monday at 7 a.m. I mean, where do you even find alcohol? At 7 a.m. on a Monday morning. Here, you can easily find places you can do that. So I got into a crowd where it was Thursday drinking because, Thursday is Thirsty Thursday. It's student night somewhere, anywhere. Friday is drinking because it's a Friday. Saturday is drinking Saturday. Sunday is drinking Soccer Sunday. Then it became Monday drinking wine, Monday blues. Tuesday drinking wine, Tuesday is K1. Wednesday drinking wine, ladies night.
Why?
Yes.
7 days.
7 days.
There's a reason to drink.
There's a reason every day. Then it became, why wait till 5 p.m.? Why wait till after class?
Who is giving you this money? Your
See,
parents?
I'm working.
You are working here?
I'm working, and then I'm also getting pocket money.
Yes, from your parents.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So now, do we really need to eat that much?
Let's drink.
Let's drink. See, we're full.
Yeah.
So you just get a kebab outside. A boiled egg or whatever. Yeah. Then you continue drinking. Then all of a sudden, I started getting into other acting productions, 2012. And I started getting frustrated with the Kenyan acting industry scene and feeling like I'm being exploited. No, this isn't what I want, and started to get frustrated. When actually what was happening is that the acting was getting in the way of my drinking. So one day, I'm a main character on a main show on TV. I get angry, I call them up and I say, guess what? I look at the bottle in front of me, it's a bottle of Blue Moon. I tell them I'm not coming to set. Waihiga last year, man, you can't do that. I'm not coming. We're gonna call our lawyers back. I'm not coming. Hang up the phone. That's the first time I chose alcohol.
Over your dream.
Over my dream. And that completely crushed me. Second thing, school, by the way, is getting in the way of my drinking. Why do I have to keep going to these classes and these lecturers are boring me all the time about I have to sit in the front seat because I'm always smelling of liquor? I'm telling this guy this is from 2 days ago. You know, my system takes long to process, man. Why is he on my case? I'm of age. Why is he always on my case?
I'm not a baby.
I'm not a baby. As long as I hand in my assignments, I come, I do the exam. What is wrong with you? You know this thing for school, by the way. Who said I wanted to do journalism anyway? I was supposed to act. I wanted to go to UCT. What is this? I don't need this. That can go to, Daddy, I'm not going back to school. Dude.
Okay.
We buy Hunter's Choice.
Eh.
Because after all, alcohol never shouts back at me. It never hurts me. It makes me feel warm from the inside out. Alcohol doesn't hate me, it doesn't hit me, it doesn't judge me. It just makes me feel so warm from the inside out, and it makes me happy. And it calms me. Whenever I'm shaking in the morning, it calms me. It lets me know that everything is going to be okay. As long as I have that shot in the morning, everything will be okay. So slowly it became, I have to drink to think about my next move. I started getting evicted out of all these hostels I was staying around school.
Because you're allowed or because you can't pay?
Both. But I'd say the first one. I came with a lot of strange people, you know. And this once we partied so hard that the door came off my hinges. A metal door came off the hinges. I stayed without a door.
Waihiga.
Yeah, I stayed without a door. I stayed without lights. There's a time I was sent money for electricity to pay tokens. I looked at the token money. I thought about how many quarters that can buy me. I said, by the way, we don't need lights. You know, you can just go to your site, just charge the laptop. Who needs lights? I'm just going to be coming here blacking out and then I go about my business. I stayed without lights for a whole semester. Yeah. So slowly, one by one, things had to go. I gave up electricity for alcohol. I gave up school for alcohol. I gave up even my circle of friends, girlfriends. Oh, the crowd changes. Of course it has to change. The minute you start talking to me about my drinking, you have to go. I will defend the drink until the end. You can tell me about anything, but don't ever talk to me about my drinking, ever. Because it's all I have. The relationships got worse and worse. I got into some very ugly situations with men. Very ugly. Very abusive relationships. Physically abusive. Which came with a lot of drinking. But for me, as long as alcohol was there, I could take anything. 2015 is when I think, my parents moved back to Kenya in 2012. They started hearing rumblings about maybe Waihiga's drinking a bit too much. So they decided to move back. And they wouldn't hear from me as much. And when they did see me, I was very thin and just lost. Looking very lost. I wouldn't talk much about school. I was very aloof about my grades. I'd stay home for like 2 nights and then disappear for 2 months. Things like that. They never really knew where I was staying, who my friends were. They'd call my girlfriends and I would never be with them because I'd already long dumped them. So they never knew much about me. By this time, I'd become extremely manipulative. Anything for that drink. And 2015, I was taken to my first rehab. It was a horrible place. You're drugged. You're shot up with all sorts of medications, and I believe it's a place where, and we have a lot of businesses like this in Kenya, where a psychiatrist will take advantage of the parents or the caregiver of someone who is struggling with addiction or mental health in order to exploit the person, the parents, because they don't know any better. So they'll pump the person full of drugs. They'll pump them full of things that they don't need to get this person who has presented with, let's say, an issue of A and put them in a condition of B. Now they really have a problem because now they're dependent on all these medications, right? And now they really have a problem, a psychiatric problem by the time they're leaving that institution. Gladly I have, and luckily I have parents who are very in tune. They don't look at me like a throwaway person. They won't just look at me and just, you know what, you've sumbued us so much. Just go. Go stay there for a year. Because people do that. They will put their children in these places for a year, 2 years. You have sumbued us so much. And they'll lock you up there for 2 years. And these places are not cheap. 150K a month. Yeah. And all sorts of things happen in there. You're beaten. Yeah, you're forced to wear church clothes. You're forced to recite all sorts of Christian hymns and stuff every morning. It's crazy. And I think we're also like given like some sort of steroids, because I gained like I don't know how many kgs in a very short amount of time. So when your person comes to seize you,
They think you're doing much better.
Look.
Hata ana progress.
the doctor comes, they're like, look, your person is doing so much better, but you can't talk to them now. Because you literally can't talk. You're like,
Zombie.
but my parents would come and they would talk to me. And my mom would look at me, she's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, what are you talking about? Then I start reciting things and she would be like, nah. I think we've had enough. And what I hated so much about that rehab is that felt like I was being punished for drinking. I'm being punished for being a mlevi. So you know what? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to drink like I'm mlevi, because I've really been trying to restrain myself. So it didn't work. I white-knuckled it, meaning I did this. For a month after I came out of that rehab, 29 days I think I lasted. Just trying like this, one day at a time not to drink. But I couldn't do it. I was craving alcohol. That's another distinguishing factor about an alcoholic. Normal people do not crave alcohol. I thought everybody craved alcohol, just in varying degrees. I thought we all crave alcohol. It's just mine is
It's
stronger.
a bit stronger.
Yes, it's stronger. Kumbe, non-alcoholics don't crave alcohol. Like I crave it the way you can crave water, like quench my thirst. Like alcohol can quench my thirst type of thing. Yeah. So I was craving alcohol, and then on top of that, it was mentally affecting me. Like the moment I wake up, I'm thinking about drinking. The moment I go to sleep, I'm thinking about drinking. The whole day is just consuming my mind.
Yeah.
But then I remember my parents have just paid how much money a month?
150.
I've been punished. I've been told I'm a bad person because I'm drinking too much. I've been given so many drugs. I've been told, you are the reason you're in here, for your drinking, for this, and you're the bad person, and this and this and this. And because of that, this is the reason you're here. And you want to go do that same thing? And I was petrified. I don't want to go back there. So I tried my own willpower. And I said I just won't drink. See, that's the end of that story. Just when I was 15, like I said, at 15, I won't drink again. And that's what I said I'll do. I won't drink again. 29 days I lasted. After that, it was automobile.
Okay.
Locals, straight to the locals. Now I was down to minimum local staggering distance. Yeah. Because I was living back home. I was evicted out of all those places at USIU. I had dropped out. This was 2014, late 14. So 2015, I'm already back home. So locals, that's where I go drink. And then I stagger back home, if I ever make it home. And that was my life. 2015, I tried taking my life. All those drugs that I got from the first rehab, I took them all. I remember coming home and I was so tired of coming home drunk and trying to pretend that I wasn't drunk. But then also trying to explain to my parents I need the drink. I can't stop drinking. And also feeling so embarrassed because every time they open their door, they know. Mm-hmm. My dad would just give me one look in my eyes and he'd be like, you've been drinking. You've been drinking. And I would be like, and just that disappointment over and over again. I was like, I'm tired. There's nothing left for me in this world. My life, my dreams, the acting, to hell with it all. I'm done. Took all the pills and I said, I want to sleep forever. I'm done. I'm tired. Next thing, waking up, I'm seeing like tiles. It's white. I'm looking down. I'm tied to a bed. I'm looking around, I'm seeing drips. I try to get up, my back is in excruciating pain, I black out. I wake up again. There's my aunt and my uncle who are looking at me and they're trying to talk to me. And I'm still not understanding what's going on. I black out. I wake up again. It's this nurse who's saying, "Are you going to behave now?" She unties my hands. Then I ask her, "What's going on? Where am I?" She's like, "You're at Aga Khan. You're in HDU. You've been so naughty. You know, you were attacking all our nurses." I'm like, "What do you mean?" I was at home, I think, very drunk. And she was like, "No, you're in HDU. You've been here I don't know how many days. The doctor will explain more." And then slowly I come to find out my dad found me. We don't discuss it much as a family. It's still very painful. Still very raw. But he saved my life. I'd been blacked out for a very long time. I was close to death. An ambulance was called. I was taken to HDU. I'm alive. That's as much as I know. That my dad is the one who found me. And the door was locked, so he had to break it down. And it was an overdose. Yeah, I took a lot of pills. And I was unconscious for over 12 hours. Yeah, and I wasn't responding. Oh, and I had seizures. So what they had done was they had done a lumbar puncture. That's why I had so much pain when I tried to wake up, because they didn't understand what was wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was my first suicide attempt. After that, you know, we tried going to see a psychiatrist. Everyone's at a loss. I was asked about drinking again. Mm-hmm. I said, I don't know. I don't know if I can promise I won't drink. This is now 2016. And then I went and I started drinking. The minute I could start walking,
You start drinking.
I start drinking.
As long as I can take myself there.
And there's no money I'm getting, by the way. I come back home drunk again. My dad asks me, "How are you getting the money? We don't give you money. What are you doing? Are you doing something?" And I told him, I just talk well.
Waihiga.
I just talk well. So it got to the point now alcohol's taken by self-respect, my dignity. I don't care. I'm even having these conversations with my dad openly. This is a man I love and respect and care for deeply. Deeply. You know, he's the man of my life. And I just don't care because of alcohol. Still, that wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. End of 2016, I was given an ultimatum. You stop drinking, you can live in this house. If you do not stop drinking,
You leave.
You leave. Fine. Peace. See me, I'm going to take the suitcases. Which suitcases are you taking? You take the trash bags and you go. Sour. Which hangers are you taking? Fine. Put all my things, whatever I could gather. Put them in the taxi, go crash at a cousin's of mine. She was here from the States. I was so drunk. I got to her place and I have to make amends to her. Till this day, I haven't made amends to her. I made her pay for the cab. You know, just so selfish, so manipulative, so selfish. I expected her to pay for the cab, expected her to house me, expected her to accommodate me. And she was here from the States visiting. She hasn't been here in like 10 years or something. And I brought my mess with me. And I stayed there for a few days. I always used to get drunk. She never gave me money as well. Asking me the same question. How do you get drunk? I don't give you the money. I just tell her I sniff out for the cigarettes. Once you find the people who are smoking, you find the drinkers. And then you just smooth talk them.
You are good at that.
It's all gift of gab. But eventually that gets you. You're a woman out at 2 a.m. What do you expect is going to happen to you? Gift of gab will not get you out of certain situations. My second suicide attempt was around that New Year's of 2016, 2017. I found more medication that I had from that rehab. I don't think we had thrown it out. And I took it, and it didn't work. It didn't work the same way it was supposed to. This time I had a spiritual thing happen. I became paralyzed, and then I levitated. Like my soul levitated out of my body, and I looked at myself from a bird's eye view, and I could see my limp body on the bed, not able to move, and I could see myself just running out of breath, and I looked so pathetic and just lay. And then my soul went into my body, and then it descended into a dark place. Now, this place wasn't physical. It was hell, I believe, but it was a very psychological thing. It was how I would measure it in terms of being hell. It was degrees of darkness and despair in terms of you descend. So you're aware that you're around millions of souls that are in compartments around you. And each of these souls are going through the worst nightmare, the worst living nightmare that they had on earth, the worst one. And you're very aware of what they're going through. It's psychological torture. And then you're in your own little compartment going through your own. But at the same time, you're not able to breathe for some reason. And you're very aware that you can't breathe. So you're suffocating and you're reliving your worst event ever. And just when it's about to end, you get a small breath. And then you start reliving the person's next to you event. And it keeps going on like that. And just when I got it, I said, hey, Jesus, I can't go through this. I can't go through this. If there is a God, and we call this the alcoholic prayer, if there is a God, please save me now. I wouldn't do it again. And then I started reliving that thing again. And then I came into my body. And I was like, yo, that was a trip. That was a trip.
Mungu ukinitoa kwa hii stai kunywa tena.
Again, ever. But remember, now I'm back in this body of mine. Whatever has happened. But this body is paralyzed. Like I couldn't move. And I was barely breathing. And I'm very messed up in the head. Now I'm like, for real, I think I'm going crazy. What has just happened? And it took me a very long time to even start opening up and sharing about this story. Because people look at you like,
Hakuna shida.
You sure you're sober?
Yes.
Yeah. So that happened, and then, so even psychologically, I'm starting to deteriorate quite a bit. And then 2017, one night went out, local bars, right? And then end up in a bar in the hood. I remember going to the bar in the hood and saying, I'm staying here, I'm drinking here. I remember thinking, oh, it would be lovely to go to Diani this time, to Watamu this time of year, because everyone was going on vacation, 2017 January. And next thing I know, I'm in a taxi destined for Mombasa.
Eh?
Yeah.
From where?
From Kiambu Road.
Kiambu Road to where?
Mombasa. And I'm in Voi. That's where I'm coming to. And I'm not understanding. My phone is at 5%. I have no money. I have the clothes on my back. I'm in a taxi with strangers. I was on a bar on Kiambu Road. That's the last thing I remember. So now we're crossing regional lines. We're traveling now. So you see, with alcohol, you just keep crossing these lines. It was a fantasy. I never thought that I would actually do it. I had no money. How did I get from Kiambu Road? I'm in Voi. What happened between those hours? I have no idea. Had to end up calling my dad saying I'm in Voi. Didn't believe me. I ended up in Mombasa. Phone at 2%. The driver's going to beat me. Daddy, please. She said to me money. I had to give them Pesa guy. Just anyone at the road. Talk. And then he just, they do the Swahili coast thing. Ndio, it's true, she's here in Mombasa. So he sends the money. The driver doesn't beat me. I'm in Mombasa.
Let me ask, you took the taxi from here? How
Accra
did you
Road,
get
apparently?
From Accra? Ukaambia mtu nipeleke Mombasa?
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
Alikula pesa ngapi?
2,000.
Mombasa?
Yeah.
2,000 shillings?
Yeah.
No, those maths are not correct.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
It was 2,000.
No, would it be bonito? No.
It was a taxi, like of 8 people.
Oh, it's a van.
Yeah.
You took, what are they called? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I have
took the
500
van.
shillings left.
Yeah.
Because my dad sent 2,500. So I have 500 left. I figured it was around 3 when I got there. I was like, you know what? Hey, I've already come this far. See, Watamu was like 30 minutes away. Let me just get into a matatu. Let me get into a matatu. Let me go to Watamu. I get into a matatu. First of all, I'm like, why is the fare so expensive? 300 shillings. Because it's 3 hours away. I'm hungover. I'm starting to convulse. I'm coming off, my alcohol. And now I'm like, yeah, this wasn't a good idea. And I keep asking, Cody, how far is this place? How far is this place? My Swahili isn't good. I'm alone. I'm a woman with the clothes on my back. Long story short, I get to Watamu, end up sitting on the beach at 6 p.m. I know no one here. I sit on the beach. I'm looking at the horizon, and this is when I'm realizing I messed up. Yani, alcohol has brought me this far. Like this far. And guess what? I'm craving a drink. I'm looking and I'm seeing a cabana. There are people sitting there. They're smoking and they're drinking Tuskers. And I want one of those Tuskers. But that's the first time I tell myself, Waihiga, if you touch one of those Tuskers, you don't know where you're going to end up next. Because you took a drink on Kiambu Road last night. And today here you are. And that's the first time I think I had a serious conversation with myself. Fast forward, I got back to Nairobi, February. I got assaulted by a border. Same shenanigans. Going to look for alcohol at very odd hours, losing track of time, blacking out, etc. And the month that I was on treatment, I could not drink. I seriously could not drink because that would interfere with the medication. And for that month, the day before I finished treatment, I had bought a mzinga of Hunter's Choice. I had it in my bag. I was ready to celebrate that I've finished my medication. I had reached a point where I could no longer see my life with or without alcohol. This is it. It's like you've signed off your life. Alcohol was my God. I signed it over to alcohol. That was it. I lived for this thing. There's no ways I saw my life without it anymore. And that's just how things were going to be. And I was okay with it. I stopped fighting it. I stopped fighting the cravings. I stopped fighting the judgment. I stopped fighting the weird looks. I stopped fighting it all. If I want to drink, I'll drink because that's what my body needs. And I gave up on recovery. I gave up on there's hope for me. I gave up on anything, any sense of there's a life past this. I knew I was going to die. I knew I was going to die very painful, very slow, very drawn out alcoholic death. Dying from alcoholism is not sexy, it's not romantic, it's
ugly.
It's ugly. And it takes everything from you, your family, your loved ones. Everyone is disgusted by you. By the time you're dying from this disease, everyone you loved hates you. Your reputation gone. No one wants anything to do with you. By the time you're dying, they're like, thank God.
Ametuondokea.
Yes. And so I was done. But when that happened, I remember I was in the shamba. I was planning to leave the house again. And my mom said to me, Waihiga, if you leave this, she was banging her hands like this. If you leave this house today, just know you're not coming back. My legs were going because I needed a drink. I needed to drink. But I looked her in the eyes and I was like, she's not bluffing. For real, this time she's not bluffing. Like, we're done. So I went to the shamba, I sat in the shamba, and I was so frustrated because I was crying. I'm like, why can't they understand that I'm fiending for it? I need it. Like, my skin is crawling. I need to drink just to think, just to be comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get drunk. At this point, I don't want to get drunk. I just need to feel comfortable in my own skin. And then 2 questions came to me, and I believe it's the voice of God. Like, 1, can you just probably admit that you have a problem? Mm-hmm. You have a problem with alcohol. And I was like, okay, yeah, I think I do.
Mm-hmm.
2, so can you admit that you're an alcoholic? Just maybe that you're an alcoholic. I was like, yeah, I think I'm an alcoholic. And it's like another weight. It's like the first drink I ever had, that relief. I finally know who I am and why I am the way I am. I was like, oh, I'm an alcoholic. Okay. Kumbe, in the background, my mom had been working with Eden House, the Eden House Foundation. And they had been saying whenever she's ready to get sober,
bring her.
That was the day. So they called...
do you remember the date?
Yeah, it was the 23rd of February.
2017.
Yeah. So they came over, Bonnie, and they came over, they talked to me.
Now the guys from Eden House.
Yeah. They sat at the dining area. My mom just didn't want to look at me. She just said, here she is. And she locked herself upstairs. There she is. Do whatever, you know? And I was like, now what are these people here to say? Oh, you want to get sober? I was like, yeah, whatever. You know, you have to tell me their sob story. Yeah, we got sober. Woohoo! Life is so cool. I was like, yeah, whatever. But instead of telling me about... They didn't tell me you need to stop drinking. You know, you're ruining lives. You're ruining your parents.
Yeah.
They told me about their drinking. I was like, that's interesting. You drink. But you don't look like you drink. And it got me interested. So if you drink like I drink,
yeah,
but you don't look like you drink anymore, so how do you stay sober?
Yeah.
Dang. Those are the questions to ask. Like, how do you do it? So if you're like me and we have the same emotions and you drink the way I drink, or you drank the way I drink,
yeah,
how do you get and stay sober? Oh, there's this program called AA. What's AA? Alcoholics Anonymous. Yeah. Oh, I've heard about that. I've done that. That didn't work for me. No, but did you do this? Did you get a sponsor? Did you work the 12 steps? Did you go to meetings every day? Did you work your program? It's like, no, I didn't do all that. Yeah, so how did you expect to stay sober? It's like, oh, it takes work to stay sober. Like, yeah, of course it takes work to stay sober. And so that day I left. Doesn't mean I stayed sober. I stayed at Eden House for the 4.5 months. I did exactly what they told me not to. Don't get into a relationship in your first year. I got into a relationship in my first year because what do you do when you get sober? I need a boyfriend, honey.
I need love.
I need love. It's been a while. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Don't make any big decisions in your first year. What do? Make big decisions in your first year. All the big mistakes, I made them. And of course I didn't stay sober. You know, I got my heart broken. And what do I do with a broken heart?
You go back.
I go back. I do what I know best. When I'm in pain, what do I do best?
You get a drink.
Exactly. And I didn't know it would be my last drink, and knock on wood, I hope it's my last drink. But that last time I drank, I felt so disgusted. I remember looking in the mirror. By this time, my hangovers are 4 days. That's also another thing about alcoholics. A normal person doesn't have a hangi for 4 days. What is that? What have you been drinking? Kerosene. You know, 4 days. I remember looking in the mirror and saying to myself, you see, who are you lying to? You've been telling all these people all these months, oh, I'm sober, look at me. I'm the new Waihiga. There's nothing new about you. You will never change. Who are you lying to? But I learned one thing from that relapse. Number one, I didn't get sober by myself. Number two, I'm not the one keeping myself sober. Number three, I'm an alcoholic. Number four, that means that I don't stay sober on willpower. I stay sober on a power greater than myself. And those 4.5 months, maybe I was doing it on myself. But these 4 years, it's been on a higher power. Because everything that I've gone through, I've been through depression. I have had 3 suicide attempts in sobriety. I've been diagnosed with bipolar type 2 disorder. This year alone, I've been to hospital. I've been hospitalized once. I had a suicide attempt in March where I overdosed. All this stone cold sober. I was depressed from January. I am just coming out of a depression, of the worst one of my life yet. But I haven't had the urge to pick up a drink. And that would kill me. That would kill a person like me. That is higher powered sobriety. That is not Waihiga sobriety. Because I, for myself, for a minute cannot stay sober. I have proved that to you in my story over and over and over again. So Lynn, why I'm here and what I really want to tell you is that alcoholism is not a choice. It's not something I woke up and decided that, yeah, I want to be an alcoholic. Nobody wakes up and decides, you know what I want to be when I grow up, an alcoholic. No. But with a lot of support, with a lot of love, you can get sober and you can live a life sober.
When was the last time you touched a bottle?
The 1st of July. The 1st of July, 2017, which happens to be my 27th birthday. It was my 26th birthday. Yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
And you don't feel the urge?
No, I don't. Because of the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. I would say the urge wasn't there. The cravings are there. They were there. But when you work through the spiritual process, of the Alcoholics Anonymous program. God does something in you where he replaces that urge and he completely fills it up, right? For me, he did. So I don't have the urge to drink today. And I'm very, very grateful for that, because I had it for over 8 months, sober. That was not fun. It was not fun. Yeah, walking around, smelling, wanting, dying to drink. But you know a drink will kill you. Yeah. But I used the tools of the program. You have to have support systems. You have to have sober friends. You have to surround yourself with sober-minded people, with people who want to see you win. I couldn't be around bars. I couldn't be around people like the old people used to be around. I had to elevate.
Elevation requires separation.
Yeah, I had to. And I couldn't feel bad about it. I had to move on up. Man, I've seen people die from this. I've seen people I know die from this. People at 22, 21 die from alcoholism. Yeah, it's not a funny disease. It's horrible.
Did the guys at Eden create a safe space for you? Because I think you've been into a different rehab, and the story you are telling us about that and this is quite different. What did they do that was different for you?
You know, what I appreciate about what Eden House did is that they didn't lie and try and make their own program. They didn't say that we don't follow the 12 steps here. They made it very clear that they follow the 12-step program. And they attributed recovery and the successful recovered life to 12-step programs. And I think that really helped. Instead of saying, here, we take pills, take medications, we do our own meditations, we write our own prayers, and we follow this according to Dr. Whoever.
I think I'm going to bring a specialist from Eden House, because I feel like we need more answers and we need to know how to approach this situation. But before we can even get there, can you briefly take us through the 12-step program?
Okay. Alcoholics Anonymous, there's so many different 12-step programs. Because once you get sober, there are so many different components to it. First of all, there's addictions for anything and everything possible. There's food addiction, so there's Overeaters Anonymous. There's sex addiction, so there's Sex and Love Addiction Anonymous. There's Narcotics Anonymous for drug addiction. For me, it's Alcoholics Anonymous. Within Alcoholics Anonymous, basically it's a 12-step spiritual program that teaches you and helps me, someone like me, unlearn the ways that I taught myself how to rely on alcohol as a god, and unlearn all those things in 12 steps to rely upon God. Because I was repelled by church. I was repulsed by church, by the message of God. I was repulsed by Christianity. I didn't like to hear about that. I don't like authority. I don't like to be told what to do. I don't like to be told that I'm not in charge of my life. I don't like that. So I have a God complex. Like telling me that my life is in someone else's hands, especially God's, doesn't gel well. So telling me that I have to put my life in that person's hands in order to be sober, in order for me to live, that's quite interesting. So having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, because a spiritual awakening happens by the time you get to step 12. Share this message with others, with people who are exactly like me, just the way Eden House and those people there shared their message of hope with me and got me to this point. I share it with others openly, freely, and want nothing but the best for them. Because it's only an alcoholic who can talk to another alcoholic. Just the way they reached out to me is the only way I can reach out to the next alcoholic. Not judging you about your drinking. I'm talking about my drinking or what it did to me. So do you want what I have, or are you willing to die with what you have?
Yeah. Wow. Are you proud of yourself?
I don't know. I don't have much time to reflect. I think I'm in awe. I wake up in the mornings and I still can't believe I'm not sick. I'm not sick. I remember where I slept last night. I remember that I slept alone. I remember where my phone is. I remember...
You ate.
I ate.
You drank water.
I drank water. My head isn't pounding. I didn't throw up.
I think you should be proud. I keep telling people small wins are still wins.
Yeah.
Small wins are still wins, and we don't get to celebrate them often because we are waiting for that gigantic thing, like now I've arrived, now it's time for me to celebrate. But those small wins, you waking up and knowing this is where I slept, this is my food.
It was an issue for a while.
You know, those are wins. Like for real, those are wins,
Yeah.
you know. So I think you should be really proud of yourself. Even you sitting here and owning your story and telling your story. And I just think like, how is it your acting career?
Right now, I'm not doing much about it. I went back to school. That for me is full circle. I went back to school in May of 2018. Despite dealing with the bipolar and the hospitalizations, because I was hospitalized 2018, 2019, 2020. I graduated in September of 2020 with my BA in journalism from USIU after 9 years.
9 good years.
Yeah.
But here you are.
But I made it.
Congratulations. No.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thank you.
Small wins.
Yeah.
That's Kwanzaa is a big one.
It's a huge one.
It's a
Yeah.
huge one. It's a huge one.
Thank you.
You know,
Yeah.
how is the relationship like between you and your parents?
Oh, it's so much better. My gosh. Just being able to talk to them and not lie is the most freeing thing. To be able to tell them I'm here and I'm doing this and this is what I'm up to. And asking them how they are doing and what are they up to, and just having conversations, you know? And not calling all the time, oh, because I need this or because I need that, but just saying, hi, how are things? Let's talk. And also for them to just see the strides that I'm making, and for them to be alive and well and to see it happen, I think is just so cool. It's
Cool.
such a gift.
They have their daughter back.
Ah,
But
they
I'm
do.
so glad that they still knew you are their daughter, even when you are going through that mess, because we don't get to see that often.
Yeah,
You know, you are lucky.
very.
People
very.
did not give up on you
Oh.
along the way. A lot of people watching, they don't get to say that.
Yeah.
They don't get to say my family stuck
Yeah.
with me, or my family, they were by my side,
Yeah.
or I did this to my sister and she can still talk back, and now we can even reconnect. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't have that.
Yeah.
And those are some of the people who will be watching you
Yeah.
on this episode. So what message would you like to send them, or anyone who is not even where you were or where you are right now, but someone dealing with their own difficulties right now? What message would you like to send out?
Well, I have 2 messages. One, for
Good.
my family.
Yes.
The love, I mean, my mom always says, I always ask her, like, why did you stick by me? Why? All the times you came to rehab. And, you know, the one thing I think most people that were in rehab with me, they always be like, they always run to the gate and they'd be like, it's Waihiga's mom. Before even the gate opened. It's Waihiga's mom. It's always Waihiga's mom. My mom would come. Even the days they're not supposed to be visitors, she would come. And and it's interesting because I started off talking about how we seem to have this estranged relationship,
Yes.
but she was always there. And I asked her, like, why are you always there? And she always tells me, Waihiga, God has given me the grace to be there for you. That is what He has put in me for you, to be there for you. So she also doesn't like to take the credit, but I give her the credit because she has kept our family together. She has been there for me. She's been there for my sister. She's been there for my dad. And I don't know how she does it, but she's there. My dad has also been there. My sister's also been there. So we've all just been there. And for them to stand behind me, knowing that this interview is so difficult, you know, but for them to still stand by me and will be proud of this and will know that it's not about how it looks, it's about what it is, the impact to that one person. Thank you. Just thank you for being there for me.
Wow.
Through it all. And second, to that person who is going through that, because I know you're there. I know you're there. I feel you. I was that person. I will just tell you, if I can do it, coming from where I've come from, you've heard me in my entirety. And I'm not telling you that I've gotten over it. I still struggle with suicidal thoughts. I still struggle with making it one day at a time. My battle now isn't per se the drink every day. It's my mind every day. It's depression. But you can get through this. Don't think you are unique. Everyone in this world has been through a certain thing and a certain story to be there for you. One of my first posts on Instagram was, I suffer to be there for you, to be your service. And it's not a noble thing to say, but it's just a way to connect and say that we all suffer, we all have a story for each other. So the more we share, the more we learn from each other. Okay. So don't think you're unique, because I've been there, I am there in depression, in bipolar disorder, in struggling with sobriety when it comes to mental illness. Yeah. I'm there in certain situations. But just know that you're not alone. And please, sharing is half of everything. Yeah. Sharing and naming what your issue is half of everything.
Good. I love that. I feel like I need to ask you to talk to your sister, so you might want to look at that camera and talk to your sister.
Hi, Nance. How are you? I love you very much. I know you're in the UK right now. You're going to make it out to TV, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's a horrible accent. Yo, Nani, I love you so much. I can't wait to see you soon. Yeah, and we get to chill and just spend more time together. Say hi to Alec. See you very soon.
Wow, I'm so proud of you, Waihiga.
Thank you.
And I feel like we've not even had the last of you. Oh. I feel like this would and I was just having this conversation with you earlier, and I was like, Waihiga, how can we even collaborate? Yeah. Because for me, there's just something, there's a connection. Yeah. And it's undeniable. Yeah. There's a connection. And I feel like, she studied journalism, we are here, and she has a lot to offer to the world. Yeah. And I even wish you the best in your acting career. Yeah. Your Oscar, it can still be yours. Yeah. Your Oscar, it can still be yours. Because look at you, handling all this. Someone might be like, guy, hiyo ni life yake ana narrative. You know? You know, someone will be like, hiyo ni life yake msichana ana narrative. But see, it's your life. It's your life, and you have a dream. And I always say, if you have a dream, chase it. Yeah. Chase it. You can never be too old for your dreams. You can never be too loud for your dreams. If you have a dream, you go out there, pursue it, and chase it. But for me, what I'm more proud of is your ability to work on yourself. You know, it's the fact that you are not shy to even come and share your story. It's the fact that you are owning your story. It's the fact you went back and finished school. After 9 years, you went back and got your degree. So you can still get your Oscar. Yeah. You can still have a platform where you get to talk to people, because there are some topics we are like, I won't touch that one. I don't understand. Even me, this topic of alcoholism, and that's why I even have to go to Eden and maybe get someone to even talk to us, elaborate further about it. It's new to me. You see people drunk and you are like, wacha akunywe. You see, wacha ajimalize, wacha akunywe. We judge. We are judgmental. Even me, as I sit here on this chair, I've judged people before. Unaona mtu Have you ever been like driving and then you see mtu amelala? Like I remember, and I feel bad right now because we made a joke about someone. They are not like a joke, but subconsciously that was really bad because we saw someone sleeping and we are like, guy, hata anajua penye yako. Sahi amelala. According to him, ako kwa mattress, bibi yake amemfunika. Like when I'm sitting here, it's very easy for us to judge because people like to criticize what they don't understand.
Yeah.
And we have that in our country right now. So many people are drinking. So many people are out there dying of alcoholism. So many people are choosing a drink over their dream. You were that person. You chose a drink over your dream. And I don't think we need to seclude them. We need to talk to them. We need to be compassionate. We need to show empathy. And even me, as I'm sitting here, I want to say that's maybe what I should have shown that person. Because you come in here makes me also learn and makes me wonder, even as a society, are we even tackling this? Or are we actually making judgments based on hacha akunywe, sini pesa ako nayo itaisha tu? You get that? So from me to you, I'm so proud of you for taking this move, and I wish you the very best. And maybe some of our audience might want to get in touch. Where can they find you?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That was great. Thank you so much for that. They can find me on Instagram.
Yes.
Waihiga Mutero, so that's WAIHIGA MUTERO, no space.
Yeah.
Everything is small letters.
Yeah.
Find me on Instagram, or you can have my email.
Yes, please give your email
Yeah.
and your YouTube channel, because you also have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can find my email is mutero.waihiga@gmail.com.
Okay.
So that's mutero.waihiga@gmail.com.
Okay.
And then my YouTube channel is the Mental Wellness Channel Tigs.
Yes.
On YouTube.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely be putting up more videos as time goes on.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I also want us to maybe work on something,
Yes.
because I don't want this to be the last time our audience get to experience you.
Awesome.
So I
Yeah.
want you, my people, to help me and tell me, what topics do you think Waihiga can help us tackle on the show? Because I think she was born for it, and she's here, she's been brave, and we don't look for the strong ones in this platform. We look at people who are just like us, fighting battles no one understands. Even as I come and do this show for you guys, I'm also fighting battles. Every one of us is, even you who is watching, you are. So if there are a couple of topics that you think Waihiga can help us with, feel free to let us know. And for me, I can't wait to have her back on the show. And if you want to also get in touch with her, here are all of her contact details and her social media handles. Her email is also right there. Her YouTube channel, which I am such a huge fan of. You guys go subscribe and see the amazing work she's putting out there. And do not forget to say Lynn sent you. Share her work, like, subscribe, turn on the notification button. Sindio, because that's the best we can also do for her, for being so brave and coming out and sharing her story. And if you want to share your story with me, my email is right here. Send a well-detailed brief of your story, and who knows, you could be our next guest on this Lynn Ngugi Show. Guys, that's it for me. To my wonderful team behind this work, asanteni sana, mimi nawapenda, and I'm glad we get to do this together. My name is Lynn Ngugi. Till next time, bye-bye.